Well, everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the Google Pixel 9a and compare it against the Google Pixel 8 and see which particular phone is the better one for you. Now, the number one thing I can definitely kind of tell you about with both these devices is that with something like the Google Pixel 9a, this is one of those types of devices that's going to be probably better in some ways than the Google Pixel 8, but there's also going to be a few areas where the Pixel 8 might be better than the Pixel 9a. So we're going to go and take a look at these, devices and take a look at these things throughout this whole entire video. First things first though, if you do want to go and pick up either one of these phones, links will be down in the description below. You can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the exact same time. Now, starting off with the outside of both these particular phones. The Google Pixel 8, which came out back in 2023, on the front side of this particular phone is going to be giving you a pretty good sized 6.2-inch OLED display. So this type of display, this type of panel is definitely a very decent panel for the most part. I remember when this phone first came out in 2023 and I picked it up and I bought it, or I was sent it, I don't remember. It was a very good looking panel and I really enjoyed buying this type of phone or getting this type of phone because it was a good sized panel with 2000 nits of brightness, which is incredible. I genuinely do like that and I thought that was a really nice thing going on for this type of phone when it came down to it from that perspective. It's also 120 Hz. And like I said, having 2000 nits of brightness is really nice, and I do think that is in and of itself another really cool thing going on for this type of phone when it comes down to it from that perspective. Now, when it comes down to the Google Pixel 9a, this phone is also still giving you a really good type of experience as well. The Pixel 9a is basically going to go through and it's going to give you a 6.3-inch POLED display. So this type of panel is going to be slightly ever so bigger than the Google Pixel 9a, Google Pixel 8, but it's also going to be giving you a higher brightness. This phone is going to be giving you 2700 nits of peak brightness, which is crazy. It's so insane to have that level of brightness here, and genuinely I do think if you are going to go through and pick up a phone, that is without a doubt one of the coolest aspects of buying a device like this. The fact that it is going to be giving you that level of brightness, that level of capability, I definitely without a doubt am a big fan of that for sure. So I will definitely say when it comes down to both panels, they both look great, but I think the Pixel 9a kind of has a higher likelihood of looking like a better panel because it is such a brighter panel. Both are giving you USB Type-C ports at the bottom, which as always is really nice to have. You're also going to be getting flat side on the Pixel 9a, whereas on the Google Pixel 8, you're getting this curved side to it. So that right there is going to be another one of those kind of key things to keep in mind here too, because you are going to be getting a little bit of a better capability inside of that device when it comes down to it, rather than something like the Google Pixel, 8 in this particular situation. On the back, you're getting a glass back on the Google Pixel 8, so a standard glass back, where the Pixel 9a is giving you this frosted glass back. So that right there is also going to be a slight difference there too. Again, it's not the biggest deal in the world, but it is going to be just another one of those small minor things to keep in mind there for the most part as well. So I do think that is in and of itself another one of those cool things going on here as well. So when it comes down to the outside, both look great. I think the Pixel 8 feels and performs better, but the Pixel 9a has a brighter display, which is something that's really cool. When it comes down price tag, the Pixel 8 costs about $230 right now, where the Google Pixel 9a costs about $499. So this right there is also another one of those really big differences. The Google Pixel 9a it's going to be giving you an advantage here. It's going to be kind of performing on a little bit of a better rate, I would say, than something like the Google Pixel 8. So that right there is going to be another really important thing to keep in mind, because if you're going to go through once again, and if you're going to go and pick up a device, you're going to have to remember the Pixel 9a is going to be more expensive in the brand new market than the Pixel 8 is in the used market. When it comes down to the cameras, both are giving you these dual camera setups, which as always is really nice to have, but they're a little different. The Pixel 8 is going to be giving you a 50 megapixel wide, then a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera, where the Google Pixel 9a is going to be giving you a 48 megapixel wide, then a 13 megapixel ultra wide camera. So that right there is going to be a little bit of a difference going on here. They both can do 4K at 60 on the back. However, on the front, you can get 4K at 60 on the front side of the Google Pixel 8, where the Pixel 9a is giving you 4K at 30. So that right there is going to be a little bit of a difference too, because it is going to kind of look like something like the Google Pixel 8 does have a pretty high likelihood of giving you a really good type of experience. So I feel like the Pixel 8's camera is probably going to be slightly better than the Pixel 9a. And I think that is kind of one of those big things to keep in mind here. Because if you are going to go through and pick up a device, like I said before, I think it would kind of make a lot of sense to go and buy something like a Pixel 8, because that camera might actually end up being slightly better than the camera on the Pixel 9a. So keep that in mind. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but that is going to be just one of those kind of minor, kind of big things to keep in mind there from that particular perspective. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but that is just one thing to keep in mind there. On top of that, when it comes down to some other areas of these devices, you're going to have to remember that the Pixel 9a, with this type of device, this is going to be giving you, right, like a very long supported device. So this type of phone is going to be supported for a long period of time now, so you don't really have too much to worry about here with that phone. Same thing with the Pixel 8. The Pixel 8 is also going to be supported with software for many, many years now. So you really don't have that much to worry about here with the Pixel 8 either, because that phone is still going to be supported with software. These phones aren't really going anywhere anytime soon, so I wouldn't really worry about either one of these phones because they're both going to be supported with software. They're both going to be very good, powerful phones for the most part. So you really don't have that much to worry about here for the most part when it comes down to that side. But once again, if you are wanting the more, powerful phone over a longer period of time, it's probably going to be something like a Google Pixel, 9a, because that one is the one that just came out. On top of that, when it comes down to their batteries, the Pixel 8 had a 4,575 mAh battery. The Pixel 9a is giving you a 5,100 mAh battery. So once again, if you are wanting the phone that is going to be giving you a little bit of a better experience here, once again, it could mean that with something like the Google Pixel 9a, this one could end up giving you a better, longer supported phone when it comes down to it from that particular perspective. So it's not to say this is the biggest deal in the world, but you could end up getting into some issues where the Pixel 9a could give you better battery life. And finally, when it comes down to the performance, the Pixel 8 is giving you that Tensor G3 chipset inside with 8 gigs of RAM, where the Pixel 9a is giving you that Tensor G4 chipset inside with 8 gigs of RAM as well. So both are giving you very powerful phones. Like I said before, there's not really an insane amount of things to complain about here. They're both going to be very powerful phones. They're both going to be very good too. I would say though, for the most part, like I said before, if you are wanting the phone that is going to be a more powerful, just better phone in general, the Pixel 9a is going to be giving you a newer, faster chipset. I still think the Pixel 8 is still a very fast phone, like you don't have too much to worry about here for the most part. But like I said, if you are wanting the more powerful device, you might want to take a look at something like a Google Pixel 8a, the Google Pixel 9a, and rather buy that phone than something like the Google Pixel 8. So it's really not the biggest deal in the world, but that is, once again, going to be one of those big things to keep in mind there for the most part. So in my personal opinion, when it comes down to both these devices, I definitely am a big fan of both these phones. I think they're both very awesome. And if you're going to go through and pick up a device, these are very good options. These are very good devices to go and pick up. If you would rather go through and pick up maybe some other devices, I think a Galaxy S23 is a really good option. But when it comes down to it, I do think these types of phones are kind of the better ones I'd recommend buying. So that's kind of what I think. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.